Hello and welcome to Midnight Podcast's interview with Dirk, the developer of Elemental, or as some people know it, Element4l, but the proper pronunciation is Elemental, I asked.
That's true. Although I like the Element4l as well, because they said it was the short of Element for Life, and in some ways that's true, so it's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
It was it was sort of in a YouTube review. They said that's probably Element for Life, and they got the story, so that's important.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll sort of let you introduce yourself and the game, like what it's about.
Oh, all right.
I'm here.
Elemental is sort of an immersive platform game. And you can be a rock, you can be ice, you can be air, and you can be fire. And the only thing you do in the game is get some sort of flow. And your target is collecting these soul sparks. And in the end of the game, you're creating this sort of how do you call it? Not a human being, but some kind of living form. The difficult part is that you can only switch between those elements. So you can only you have 4 keys, and the only thing you can do is switch between those elements. And all these elements have this inertia with them. So if you press air, you go up a little bit. If you press fire, you go right a little bit. If you press stone, you can go down. And ice doesn't have an inertia, so you can always change to ice, and all the other elements, they take energy. So the difficult thing about Elemental is you have to press the right element at the right time, and it's this cross between a puzzle and a platform game. I think that's what makes it interesting, but it seems that a lot of people find it very difficult.
It is very difficult. Like I love the mechanics.
Are you watching the stream right now? Is that why you're laughing?
No. Are you streaming? I'm going to check your stream. Wait.
I do think it's very interesting because I've never really been a huge fan of platformers just because I've always been awful at them. Like, I'll sit there and watch a platformer and be fine with it, like a friend while they're playing it, but I'm just so bad at them. Like, I've only beat one Mario game in my whole life. That's like something I talk about on my podcast and stuff a lot, but because I'm proud of it. I finally beat a Mario game. But whatever. So I'm bad at platformers, but I really like how this one is more difficult for me, but it also kind of makes sense in its gameplay. I really like it. But since we were talking about the elements, were there any other elements that you were thinking about putting into the game, but they got cut or anything?
No, not really, because in fact, like if you look like Greek philosophy, it's just 4 elements. So normally it's water instead of ice. You can change to water, but it's just those 4 elements.
Okay.
I was thinking about adding more interaction between some of the elements, like fire. You could set things on fire and stuff, but it got really technical, and I just wanted to create an easy and simple and cool game in a feasible amount of time, because I'm the only developer, and it's already took me like almost 2 years to develop this. So I couldn't. I'm pretty happy with the results. So.
During the development, were there like any slumps where you felt like the game just wasn't going to happen?
Maybe after half a year, I was thinking like, oh my god, the level design is going to be such a huge amount of work. And I was thinking about doing a small iOS game first, but then I thought like, just have to do what you like most, and Elemental was really the game I wanted to make, so just spent some more time on Elemental, and I forgot about the other game I was going to create.
Now, have you done previous other games?
Well, yeah, I've been starting. I started like game development already 10 years ago, I guess, just as a hobby and doing some weird stuff with a lot of different engines like Ogre and stuff. Then about 7 years ago, I started working with Unity. And about 6 years ago or 5 years ago, I created a game for a Unity competition. It was called the Top Dog competition, and I was a finalist then. And what the game was called Graphball, and it was about a robot that had a virus in his brains, and he had to shoot out all the viruses in this sort of puzzle bubble way, but in 3D. So that was my first real game that was finished. And about 1 year or 2 years after that, about 4 years ago, I created a game called Laserbug on iOS. And I don't know if you heard about the game Pang.
Pong?
Yeah, Pang. It's a game where you where you shoot. It's a very difficult game to explain. Like it's this sphere that splits up if you shoot at it into two different spheres that are smaller, and they become smaller and smaller. And if you get hit by a sphere, you die. So it's a very old game, and I created a new version with it with a ladybug that had a laser pointer with it, and he had to dodge these water droplets because otherwise he would die. And he was shooting those water droplets with his laser beamer. I don't know.
So that brings up another question I have. What kind of inspired the game? I know that's a standard question, but it's one that's particularly pertinent to a game where you only have a single mobile element and the rest is based on turning into rocks. Why were you just sitting there one day and you were like, it'd be cool if there was only a single direction you could take in a really hard platformer?
Well, no, I was playing a lot of platformers on my iPhone, on my iPad. And I thought, like, all the controls are pretty weird if you play a lot of those hardcore platformers on a computer with your keyboard or with a gamepad. It's pretty feasible, but once you play the same platformers on a touchscreen with these movable controls and stuff, it always it isn't accurate. It's really difficult to play them. And I was thinking about a way just to make it more easy, just with a few buttons that you just click, not like press them all of the time, but just click some buttons and make a great platformer with just one button.
So pretty much it's an experiment in minimalism in terms of controls.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And then, and the first version of Elemental was just changing form without inertia. So air was just changing to air. It wasn't jumping or anything. And it was more a puzzle game than a platformer. So, like most of the levels were just a few screens long. And it was just changing between elements. It was just a puzzle. Yeah, just had to change at the right time. But once I got and added these forces to all the elements, things got just a lot more interesting. So I kept on adding features that improved that. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So this whole time, I thought you had done the art until I checked the page earlier. So did you have a lot of influence or heavy choices in what the art was, or did you sort of just leave it up to the artist? I don't remember their name, but
no, I did all the art in game.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
No, I did. In fact, the game itself, I did the whole game, so art and programming. And Michele is one guy from Belgium as well. He did the animated movies, between each stage. There's some animated movies, and he did those. And then there was Mitchell, an Australian, Mindtree, and he did all the music. But I did the game itself, all the arts and all the programming.
Okay, I think the animation thing is just what I was confused about.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I really love Mindtree's music, though. That is really nice.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great guy as well.
So where exactly did you find him? And, where did you guys all meet up to do this? Was it just online in general? You needed an artist, so you were trying to find people, or?
Well, I'm a musician as well, and I work in the music industry in Belgium. So that's for a non-profit organization. That's my day job next to creating games. And I was looking at Bandcamp and just trying to find some good music that would suit my game. And that's a couple of names I don't know about Tree, and Mindtree was one of them. The other ones were more famous as well. And I contacted all three of them, and one of the bands just gave me a contract right away, and I had to tell them how many minutes I was going to use of their music, and it was going to cost a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money because Elemental is made with a very, very tiny budget. And Mitchell, he was like, from the first minute he heard about Elemental, he was like, yeah, I want to do the soundtrack. I think it's a great idea, and let's work together. And so he was really motivated, and I started working with him, and was a very good choice because I love what he did with the OST. It's really amazing.
So, since you said you were a musician, what made you choose to get an outside musician as opposed to doing the music yourself?
Well, and if you really want to create a great product, it's really difficult to do all things at once. So, like creating music, I would have spent half a year on it just to create a good soundtrack. And if a game takes too long, that's also not really good for productivity. If there's someone else creating something even better than you can do it, then you move a lot quicker. So,
pretty much modesty.
No, he's also just better than me in music creation. I think he did an awesome job. I couldn't have done it better than he did. So and I thought like I'm creating like two sorts of music. I play in a rock metal band, and I create a lot of electro music for a German label, but I wasn't creating this kind of music, and it sort of fitted all the atmosphere in Elemental, and I loved the atmosphere that he was bringing with his music for Elemental.
So, what was I going to say now? I forget. Oh yeah. So because this is always of interest to me, what, like you said, you told me what type of metal or what type of music you play, but what type of instruments do you play?
I started out as a guitarist, and probably like when I was 17, we didn't find the good drummer, and I started playing drums, and I've been playing drums since then.
That's almost how everybody becomes a drummer.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, I wanted to play drums since I was like 4, and I'd do it now.
Well, I always wanted to play drums, but my parents thought it was a bit too loud. So.
Oh yeah, it does get loud.
Yeah, I just asked a friend, can't you drum here? And he put his drum kit in my garage, my parents' garage, and I started playing on it, and yeah, just it stayed there, the drum kit. So
that's really similar to what I did with my drum kit once, except for I'm never going to do it again because my friend's brother started playing it, and he plays really hard, and he broke every single head on my kit and my only cymbals. He broke all of them.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So that will never happen again, but
we had one drummer where we had to use double earplugs just because he played so loud.
Yeah.
Just thought because he was playing metal that he had to like slam really hard, but yeah, no. Doesn't have to be that loud, just have to be in
good
rhythm, yeah.
So this is even further off topic, but what kind of metal is it?
It's pretty technical metal, but with a sometimes normal voice. I don't know how to explain
sometimes.
it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
We're not like dressed in black or something. We're just normal dudes who like to play technical stuff. Yeah.
Like,
and it's a lot of fun.
I know a lot of people get that idea in their head, like it's some dudes dressed in black. But I've been in metal bands too. But whatever.
We should probably get back to the game.
Yeah, we definitely should get back on topic. So was it difficult? I know you said that after I brought up the thing about were you in some sort of slump during the production of the game, and you said when you were thinking about the level design, right? Was it really difficult actually making any of the levels?
Well,
like as opposed to some of the others?
I don't like reusing a lot of stuff. So, like you can see in Elemental, you always see new stuff and new challenges in it. So the main problem was creating levels that weren't too repetitive, where there was always something new happening. And Yeah, repetitive. So I started drawing a lot of stuff during train rides, and just like when I got to my third stage, like the red levels with the mine carts, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to have to do another another stage. How I'm going to find all the new IDs and stuff, but well, it worked out. But I think after I created stage 4, it was time for a break or new ideas.
Okay, so
Static?
what?
I'm hearing a lot of noise right now.
Oh, hang on, I'll try and fix it. Yessik, talk.
Okay, so the game in general has this weird kind of hard to decipher biological thing that's coming together. So why did you decide on the 4 elements coming together to make a human? And I can't exactly understand how they managed to do that. Vapid, I think that may be on your end.
Well, the main story behind that is I started creating Elemental. The story behind it like 1 year ago, the start of last year, and that's when I knew I was going to become a dad, and it really intrigued me how life is being created and stuff. And I'm an engineer, so I'm not into that stuff normally, but I just thought, like, how is life created in an alternate universe, and it's just the elements of coming together and doing stuff in an underworld and trying to find soul parts and stuff like that. So just becoming a dad that inspired me doing this kind of story. Really, I don't know.
So it was just kind of like an engineering aspect. How would it work to create a human with 4 elements?
Yeah, in an alternative dimension. I don't know. Probably, yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the quick subject change, but is it okay now?
No, absolutely not.
Not really.
How about now?
It's like you have this metal distortion on your voice. I can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, now you're just not around.
Okay, is it there now?
You still have a lot of distortion going on.
That's really weird. Okay, just go ahead and keep talking.
Okay.
Yessik. I'll post all of my questions in the Skype call. Some of them we've already covered, but
Okay, the other question I have is, why radioactivity as an obstacle?
I had to find something that was like, lava in the deep areas of lava, then even fire bursts, but on the small parts, like the heat parts, you can bounce of it if you're fire. And I needed something that was hurtful to fire as well. That's why I started creating green things that were looking very hazardous. How do you call it? Yeah. and yeah, I don't know. It's probably something like the green goo, and I just needed something with a real prominent
Looks
color.
dangerous.
Yeah, prominent color that looked dangerous. That's why I choose green.
alright, is it still there?
No,
It's
you're
better.
good
Okay.
now.
So the reason why I was asking about the different elements earlier is because I sort of thought about maybe having the green goo as an element. Like, I don't know how you could put that into play, but
Well, the thing is, sorry, I'm answering your own question for you.
Yeah.
How it's currently arranged, what would you do? Put Spacebar in as a control?
see, that is one of the flaws that I thought of when I was thinking about that. But
Yeah.
I guess I'll let Dirk answer.
There is spacebar as a control, but you just have to finish the game first.
Oh, okay. What
I'm
does that do?
I'm kidding. Well, it's there's a power up. It's called slow motion. I think you can guess what it does. There's a second energy bar coming around your element, and if you press it, it slows down time with like 50%. So, like, you can do the hard parts really easily that way. In race
pretty
mode.
interesting.
Just slows down everything, also the sound and stuff. And that's what Spacebar is all about after you finished the normal mode of Elemental. The
Does
normal,
it actually
really
slow
hard
down
mode.
the soundtrack?
Yeah, it slows it down as well.
That's so interesting.
Even all the sounds. You can do it like about 4 seconds, and then you have to. It has to reload. But
Have you ever tried sitting through the whole entire soundtrack slow motion?
no.
I feel like that'd be a really interesting soundtrack to just sit through slow motion with.
Yeah,
Why would he
it's-
possibly do that?
It would. I just think it'd be interesting. Also, for anybody that owns this game, the soundtrack actually comes with the game in the system files.
Yeah,
Just so everybody knows.
if you buy
Ow.
it to the Humble widgets, it's a separate download that you can do as well. But if you buy it through Steam, you can find it in your system files in the folder of Elemental.
Which is really cool because it's a great soundtrack. People should just get it.
Yeah.
Both the game and the soundtrack. They're both just absolutely amazing.
My thought was, if they don't like the game or if they find it too difficult, you just have a great soundtrack for $9.99, and that's also pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So you get a game for free. You pay for the soundtrack, but you get the game for free.
Yeah.
That does work.
Or vice versa. Either way. Or you can look at it like you're paying $5 for each, or however whatever increments you want. So are there any plans for DLC or sequels?
Well, there's a free DLC coming. It's called Lap Races, and it's about smaller levels with certain aspects of each level, and you have to do the same level 3 times, but it's rearranged as a lap, so as a track. So it comes to the same place again and again. If you do 3 laps, it's finished, and it's a great way to see the other ghosts. So it's mostly an online feature, and normally I'm going to create a lap race for each level, so that's 16 lap races.
Okay, that's
Okay.
kind of cool.
Yeah. Can I give you a hint to get through this part?
Oh, well, I actually got through it already. I just failed.
Now you're normally yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yay!
Great. So there's a checkpoint.
If you find it too hard, Yessik, there is a setting for
No.
little babies.
No.
Yeah, you know why I called it "This is too hard for me" is just because I don't want people to use it.
Yeah. Like, I refused to use it.
A lot of my friends, like some of them, like didn't game for 2 years, and they had a very, very hard time finishing the game. But every time they saw like this is too hard for me, they tried playing it again in normal mode. So
So is it still relatively hard even with that setting?
it's easier, but the gameplay isn't as nice because you get too much energy and you don't need that flow that you're having right now.
Yeah.
And if you have less energy, you have a much nicer flow. So if you watch gameplay movies from people that are using the easy mode, it's much less fluid because they keep on pressing the up button or the right button.
So I had a question, but it
Yeah.
totally escaped me. So
Done? No.
So
Okay.
I know you said that. Well, sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to use air there to speed up. You just can press to fire 2 times or 3 times even. And
Oh, really?
I actually learned that really late in game.
just like press fire 3 times and then ice. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
But it was when I was streaming with Exotics one day that I was. I always used air to try to build up speed, but I knew that sort of prevented you from building up a ton of speed, and so it. But then Exotics pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." And so then, it was somewhere in Chapter 3.
I even learned from some beta testers some feature
Really?
some feature that I didn't know about. Like I programmed it so that air has some drag and then a fire as well, but because ice is a lot more heavier, it flies a lot further in in air than air does. So if you jump and you switch directly to ice, you get a lot further than when you're in an air bubble.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of people were doing some levels in much less time than I was doing. So I was checking their ghosts. And they were using that a lot. So they were constantly ice and just switching for a couple of microseconds to fire or air or something, and switching back to ice again. So it was very cool to see that those people were using the physics to have much better times than I was doing.
So have you seen any really crazy speedruns, like almost unbelievable?
Yeah, there are some crazy speedruns, and I'm still in the top 10 always, so I see a lot of crazy speedruns, and I try to keep up with them. But right now, level 1 is about 24 seconds or something. You can do
Wow.
it, and some other levels, like crazy ones, like this, they do it in, I don't know, 48 seconds or something. It's crazy.
I'm definitely probably never gonna be good enough to get that Steam achievement that's like finish a level in 30 seconds or something.
Under 60 seconds. Well, you can do that one in the first level. It's very doable. You just have to check the other ghosts, so it automatically downloads a ghost that's slightly faster than you. So when you played race mode like 10 times, and then you've beaten the ghost every time, it gets very interesting because you can see all the other moves from other people, and you become very good just by looking all the other people doing their moves.
You know what
That
I
is
think a
sort of,
developer should actually do at some point? Make the meanest Steam achievement of all time get on the top 10 on the leaderboards as a Steam achievement.
Well, that's I'm going to do that for the lap races. So because now it was too easy because leaderboards are already. If you bought the game as one of the first ones, you would automatically get that achievement. So it's much cooler to introduce it right now than to introduce it when the game comes out. So I'm going to do that achievement.
Oh,
See, that's a really cool thing that I think about achievements is that they are achievements. I actually was watching an Edmund McMillan interview a while back, and he had brought this up, that achievements should actually be some things that are achieved as opposed to just like beating a level or something.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was so interesting because I had never thought about that before. I guess because I was spoiled by being a Xbox 360 fanboy for so long. And but I think that achievements like that are really interesting. Like I'd like to see a lot more of those.
Yeah, there's an achievement called the Dark Knight here, or Dark Warrior. It's called. It's not the Dark Knight, but it's
It is Batman.
well, it's a very hard achievement, and I think like only 20 people have it already. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all what I would have to do for that.
No, it's pretty hard. You have to find all the lost sparks first. So all the black sparks you see throughout the levels.
Yeah.
And then there's sort of a very hard bonus level. But it's something very familiar. The level is familiar, but there's something weird with it. I can say
there's a
it's-
bonus level for getting all the lost sparks, though.
Yeah, in fact, it's a level, but it's in black, so you can't see a lot of things happening around you.
Curse
So
you,
you-
Dirk! Now I'll have to collect them all.
You have to remember all the parts in that stage just to finish it. And if you finish that, you get the Dark Warrior award. It's a pretty neat award because not a lot of people have it.
I'm gonna have to do it now. Really, like there's this completionist inside of me that just has to do it if it exists, and so now I have to do it.
There was one achievement called Fireworks, and it unlocks when you exploded a lot of times as fire. And there was one guy who was too good at it, so he didn't have the Fireworks achievement when he finished the game. So he just started up a game and he made it explode like 300 times just to get an achievement. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. I'm probably gonna have to do that. I don't know. I'm probably so bad at the game that I've probably already made like 999 fireworks. So, but like I said, I'm just terrible at all platformers.
This is actually a pretty cool. Well, I won't call it a puzzle, but pretty cool little segment of the game.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in it. I don't know if he mentioned it, but this is actually his first time playing.
Oh, it's the first time playing. That's great. You're doing
I
a
have,
great job then.
Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? No, I don't want the secret.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Oh!
Okay, a common mistake that I always make when I'm in water is to build up speed. I'll end up hitting fire anyway. And I don't know what's going through my head when I do that. It's just the dumbest thing. I don't know.
So, I gotta say, did you go through like a special design lesson in order to make these elements so cute? Because I have to admit, pretty much one of the most adorable games I've played in a very long time.
Well, Michele, the guy that did the animations, he created some abstract art for the characters, and I just made them. It was based on them, and at first I just had this square and a triangle and a sphere, and and that were my elements. So he made them like more human, just with the face, and I made them smile and I made them like blink, and like just the blinking script is something I spent like an hour on because it had to look very human. So if you watch closely the blinking, it's pretty random. It's just like a human being, the same amount of time or between the blinks.
It is pretty
Yeah.
pretty. I really like it. Like everything about the characters. I don't know.
like how you're calling
it's
them
like
characters.
Yessik said, they're just like really cute and everything. Like, and just the blinking and the face. I don't know. It's just like everything about it's awesome. But whatever. I'm gonna take it for a date. The characters.
Oh.
Like, gonna buy him a drink. Okay. I was just saying that because I'm stalling, hoping Yessik comes up with a question.
Well, I have more questions, I think. So, in general, it's a pretty minimalistic design. Are there any games you were inspired by in terms of design? Just off the top of my head, it looks a tiny bit like Limbo. Yeah.
A lot of people say that just because of the shadows. You can. There are a lot more games with a black foreground, and in almost every case, it's pretty lovely, and it's just like level design is pretty hard if you're the only artist in a game. If you have to draw all the foregrounds, or you have a lot of detail in it, and then it's pretty lovely, or you make them very abstract. And I just chose black because it goes very well with all those different colors, but it just needs to be very simple in this game. The game is about the platforming and about the curves in the levels, and those curves are very, very important. And if you have a lot of contrasts in your level design, it's just more easier to see all the curves. So I just thought that's a great way of displaying it. I also loved Limbo, so but Limbo is a totally different game, of course. It's an amazing game, but it's a totally different game.
Well, at this point, I'm not even talking about gameplay. This game's clearly nothing like Limbo.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was stuck at this part for so long.
Yeah, this is the first part where you really have to master the stone controls.
Yeah, that was tough for me. Like, it was bad. But I remember one of the things that I was gonna bring up that I forgot. When you were talking about like downloading somebody's Ghost or something, that sort of made me much better at the game. Like, I didn't actually download somebody's Ghost, but in the tutorial, you know how it'll be. You can press H for help.
Yeah.
Like, just doing that helped me so much in the game. Like, if it weren't for that, I probably would have been even worse than I already am at the game.
You know, the first version of the game that I've sent to my beta testers was just the first real stage with no explanation at all. So I thought it was just like a challenge to make the element go forward.
Like, so you didn't even give them controls or anything?
No, not at all.
That reminds me of Xenonauts. Like, that's a new game that came out. It's a lot like the old XCOM. Like, it doesn't tell you anything at all when you start out, and it's just like, I'm already terrible enough at XCOM, and then you put me in a totally new environment, and I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. But
Well,
I've got a lot of feedback, and I start thinking like maybe I should do a tutorial just to explain what rock is about and what ice is about and when you can use it. And it was probably a very good idea.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a great idea. I would have been so confused without it.
Like
I'd actually seen gameplay videos before I had played it, and I was like, this game doesn't look that bad. Then you emailed me, and you were like, the game's going to be tough. And I was like, sure, it'll be tough, but it'll probably be tough in the sense that Dark Souls is tough. So I'll be good at it, but it'll be tough. But then I play it, and I'm just completely awful.
But it grows on you, no? I think.
Oh,
like,
yeah, it definitely does.
One of the things that I actually want to mention because you sent out your first level to beta testers is that is a common thing that I find developers do. One of the worst cases for me is I was sent Eodor Masters of the Broken World with absolutely no tutorial mode.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, is a grand strategy game with turn-based elements and I'm pretty sure there's over 200 or 400 types of units, and they all have their own stats and leveling system, and like absolutely no tutorial. They're like, here, you can play this, right? I'm like, no.
That does look like a very complicated game to get into without a tutorial.
Well, there was a funny thing as well, because when I've sent out my review copies 1 week before the Steam launch, there was a tiny bug in it that when you started a new game and you pressed the mouse button instead of pressing enter, you got to the first stage and not to the first tutorial level. So a lot of reviewers got the first stage as their intro with Elemental.
I actually did notice that, but the thing is that I didn't notice it until the second time I launched the game, because what I did was I opened the game, then I encountered the bug or whatever, and then I had to go do something, so I ended up closing the game, and then I restarted it up again later, and I was like, this isn't where I started, but whatever.
Yeah. It's really, some people thought it was way too difficult and you should include a tutorial, but there is a tutorial, and so I did an update 1 day after it. So
Yeah.
I hope not a lot of people encountered that. And I made some points easier. I think the tutorial level now has more checkpoints. Mainly the stone tutorial level has more checkpoints. And the finishing flag is also a bit easier, because the last tutorial level, stone, was more difficult than the first two levels, so that wasn't really acceptable.
I think it was stone that I was actually going back through the tutorial. I don't remember why, but I was actually stuck on stone. Like, I'm sitting there in the 4th chapter of the game, but I can't even get through the stone thing. I was like, what is going on? I'm so bad.
No, but the stone level was... the tutorial level is one... When you master that one, the game gets a lot more fun, because you can use every curve in every level.
Yeah.
Build up speed. And if you see the more experienced players, you can see they build up a lot of speed with all those curves. Every curve is an inverse speed bump, so you can get a lot of speed with it. And
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
That's what helped me through the game a lot. Except what I would do is I would oftentimes... I don't even remember what I was saying. Never mind.
It's cool that there's someone commenting there's a baby mode.
Yeah, that was Vapid. He did a full playthrough, I think, on his YouTube channel.
Great. It's already finished, yeah. To the full playthrough. even with the bonus level.
Oh no, not the bonus level. Well, I don't think you got all the collectibles, the lost sparks, but
I was thinking that would take people like a couple of weeks to find all the soul sparks, but apparently, like 3 days after it, some people already found all the soul sparks. And that's pretty amazing because some of them are really well hidden.
It's kind of amazing what gamers will do if you give them the time.
Like you'll think it'll take a long time to do something, and then like they'll just completely blow away like those expectations. Like I've heard a lot of other developers mention that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any point to me being so high up in the air here? I don't think so.
I think there's a lost spark there. I remember there's one that you have to get really, really high with.
Yeah, that's just before this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like the major quarter pipe that you see there, left. If you go really, really high, you get to the top of the waterfall, and there's a lost spark as well.
But I really like trying to get all the lost sparks. It's been really interesting. I haven't got them all yet. Like I said, I haven't even beat the whole game yet, but it's been really interesting trying to get them.
Yeah, some of them are positioned backwards in the level, so you have...
Yeah, which I find those to be the toughest ones to get. I don't know if that was intentional, because obviously your flame isn't, or fire isn't really that useful when trying to go backwards, because it just naturally goes forward.
Yeah. That's where stone and ice are getting very important.
Yeah.
So did you think of the elements and then have to reverse engineer the puzzles from that, or did you think of the puzzles and then the elements were just already in place? Like,
no, I made a very small level. I think I made level 2 first. You know, the one. Where you go underground. It's just the second level of the game. I made like 60% of that just as a test level, and then I started experimenting with all the parameters, like how much power should they have, how long would it take to reload the energy. Because if you give too much energy, people can just fly anywhere. Some people have asked me why is there a limitation on energy, and then I tell them, like, if you use fire and air all the time, you can just fly over the level. So
yeah, that'd be really crazy. If like I can't even imagine there being any more energy than what there is right now. Like I think that would like completely break the game.
Yeah, of course, I would completely break the game, because at first there was no energy in the game, so you just had to switch between the element you were, and there was no velocity coupled with it, so there was no energy bar. So when I first introduced the velocity when you change elements, then I had a problem with that, because you could just like fly through all the levels. So then that's when I introduced the energy bar, and I just started experimenting with that and with the second level that I created, and just things keep on changing the parameters, like a few months even, until it gets right, until it feels right, until it plays very smoothly, and I started creating all of the other levels with those parameters.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna start to close, because the interview's been going on for a little while, and I think you had about an hour. So,
have you been at the last stage already, like the purple one? Have you been there? No? Okay. Well, there's one big spark there. It's a new element that's being introduced, and it gives you 5 seconds of unlimited energy, so you can press whatever you want for 5 seconds.
I have found that.
Oh, okay.
Actually. I forgot about it, because I've only encountered it once, I think. I just remembered the 5 seconds thing, but I didn't remember anything about what it looked like and everything. But anyway, I actually really liked that.
That was the first time I had to introduce a ceiling in the levels.
Yeah.
I do actually have one more question.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I understand the energy on the fire and the air, and I kind of understand it on the rock, but what in the end made you decide to put energy on the rock?
Because all of the 3 other elements, except for ice, they all have a certain velocity. And if I would just have made like rock the only one with a velocity that didn't consume energy, that would have been weird, no?
I guess so.
You definitely would have changed the game a lot if you hadn't.
Because you could just accelerate downwards infinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would go really, really fast because with those 5 seconds of unlimited energy, you can go very, very fast just to the right by spamming the fire button. And I think if you go very, very fast, I've seen some small glitches where you go through the levels just because you're going so fast.
Really?
Yeah, but it happens like in 1 in 1,000, so it's pretty.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
If you fly as a bubble to the accelerator things, the sprays, and you're a fire just an air bubble, you get a lot of speed. So I had to limit those as well, because your weight as a bubble is next to nothing, and
Yeah.
And the sprays have so much power, you get blasted away in a super high velocity. So I had to limit those because I got way too fast. And now it's limited at 100 an hour or something, 100 miles an hour. I don't know, something like that.
I've always.
All right.
Oh, never mind.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I've always just been kind of tripped out by the concept of speed in video games. Because it's so surreal as compared to real life. Real life is measurable.
Just so you know, there's actually a lost spark under that thing.
Oh, you found that one. That's a very hard one to get as well.
I've found quite a few in the levels that I have done.
I don't think I'm going to get it.
It's a pretty tough one to get.
Oh, damn.
Like, the way I found it is, for some reason, I turned into a rock while I was speeding at it, and then it just knocked the thing off, and I was like, oh, there's a lost spark there.
Yeah, just for measurements, I think in my physics engine, the ice cube is 1 meter and 1 meter, so 3 feet on 3 feet, like something like that.
That is hilariously large.
Yeah, but if you see the trees, it's pretty normal, no?
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah. Or they are all very small trees.
They could be like saplings.
So just so you know, my next game isn't probably going to be another platformer.
It isn't going
It is
to be?
going to be?
No, it isn't probably going to be another platformer.
Oh, okay.
So depends on how big the team is going to be to work on the next game. So depends also on the success of Elemental.
Well, it's been decent so far, the success.
Well, the reviews are very good, in fact. So I had about 20 reviews, and most of them are between 80 and 100. So there are only like 3 of them that are 70 or 65, but most of them are very, very good. But it's just not picked up by the major website, let's say. Some major website have done something about it, like have done an announcement that it's out, like Rock Paper Shotgun and stuff, but they didn't do a review, and probably reviews are very, very important for sales.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's
That's
all
interesting
about
that they would announce it, but not actually review it.
Yeah, maybe they find it too hard.
Maybe so.
It's quite possible. To be honest, that's a problem I have often. Like, I'll get a game, and people will be like, hey, can you give me a review? And I'll look at it, I'll sit down, and I'll have to play it for about 6 hours before I can even get the general concept. So it's always possible.
Have you seen the playthrough of Giant Bomb of Elemental?
No.
Well, they did a playthrough, and they didn't prepare, so they had a pretty hard time.
Wow.
But it was at the end he really got away with it, but it's like he really mastered it in the last 10 minutes. But it was like a let's play of 40 minutes, and the first 30 minutes he was stuck at the stone level, and it's probably my fault. It was the tutorial the last level was a bit too hard, but you could skip it. So and now it's less hard. So I hope they try it again.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. So the game Elemental sold about like 6,000 copies. So that's very good for a game.
That's really good.
Yeah, it was not. That's really not bad for a game that wasn't really known before it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad.
Like I think I don't even remember the game, but I remember there was one indie game that was pretty popular. Well, it had a lot of coverage, I guess. It wasn't really that popular as a fun game, but it only sold like 3,000, I think. But it had like a lot of press coverage and stuff, even though it wasn't.
The first day or after some months?
I think it was first week.
Okay. Well, I had I probably had about 3,000 the first week, even more, 4,000 prolapse. Now it's very. I think they're all waiting for a summer sale.
Maybe so. I'm sure that will give you a huge boost.
Yeah.
Now, do you actually decide like if you want to take place in the Steam sale?
Yeah, you can like Steam contacts you, and you can choose whether you can choose your prices. That's for sure. So.
Oh, that's good.
It's not Steam that decides everything, or Valve. They're pretty open about everything. So.
That's really cool. I'm glad with
they're
about like
they're
how
very
they
cool
are about
people
that.
to work with. So it's very nice.
So I do have a small question, actually. I know that Steam takes a fairly large cut, and I'm pretty sure I know almost exactly what the cut is, but I forget at the moment.
30%, right?
Yeah. Do you have a developer's website where you can buy this with just like directly supporting you instead of giving the 30% to Steam?
Well, yeah, the Humble widgets on my own site. So Humble Bundle contacted me. They have a widget, so independent developers can set up their own store, and they take a very, very small cut of it. And then I hope I'll be a part of a Humble Bundle someday. So we'll see about that. I'm currently
the game quality.
Yeah.
The game quality will definitely allow for you to be a part of a Humble Bundle.
Thanks. That's cool. I hope to be part of it one day, or in a couple of months, or in a year or so. I don't know. And I'm currently investigating a Linux version. It's probably going to be there in a couple of months, maybe a couple of weeks even. So depends on how many problems I'm having with the conversion.
You have an iOS version, don't you?
Well, I'm thinking about an iOS version because it was made with iOS in mind. But I just changed it because I wanted to address the hardcore gamers and not the casual gamers, because I knew Elemental was going to be hard, because I made Elemental for myself in the first place, and I wanted a real challenge. I'm also a real gamer, so I want a challenge when I play a game. And probably that's why I choose to release it first to PC gamers, because I'm a PC gamer at heart, and I want a hard game, and I'm probably going to change Elemental for iOS and make it more casual, easier, shorter levels. But in that way, I made it first for PC, and I made a game that I really wanted to play, and I'm going to make an iOS game for casual users in the second phase. Yeah.
Have you considered making the easy thing also available on Windows?
Yeah, probably, but I don't think a lot of people will enjoy it, because it's going to be more like very small levels and maybe three screens long, but very simple as well. I'm probably going to create a level editor for the PC version if I find the time, because it's a lot of.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work to make something that's usable for everyone to create levels, because like level design was one of the most difficult parts of Elemental.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, but then I realized that that most games that have a level designer also tend to have really blocky, simple levels to lay out.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is purely vector based, so in fact the level editor should be something that like Illustrator, so you could draw vectors and make them smooth and stuff. So it's way more difficult than a traditional level editor. Yeah. It's also more difficult to save them and to share them. It's not just a level editor. That's pretty okay, but it's just the whole community aspect of it. Like people have to rate stuff, and they have to you have to make sure that the best levels are positioned like above or the most popular ones. So it's not just a level editor, and that's if you do something, you have to do it right? So
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
probably.
now I think we've covered everything.
All right.
Let's see.
So, unless anybody wants to say anything, then I guess we'll close.
Well, actually, I know there aren't many people here because it's a midday stream, but if anyone in the chat has questions, now's the time. So, go
Somebody
ahead.
just left.
Somebody just left.
You can use fire ice. Perfect.
There we go.
I was actually stuck on this part for a little while. Like, I had absolutely no problem breaking through the wall, but once I got into the water, I would oftentimes hit the ceiling.
Yes.
As air, so I would just have to restart.
Okay.
Like if you were playing the game, did you have like more ideas for Elemental? Like why hasn't he done this or this? I was just wondering.
To be honest with you, it's such a strange concept for a game that I don't really like. In a Mario game or in a platformer, you can even in Super Meat Boy, you can be like, oh, why didn't he have a level with this as an obstacle? And like, it must have been hard to just come up with any obstacles for this game.
That's true. Yeah.
So I have to say, very hard game to recommend things for at all.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I could like suggest as an addition. Like I just don't know.
Well, I didn't know anymore after the fourth stage. I spent a lot of time brainstorming and drinking all the levels through, and it's probably like maybe I could create another 2 stages, but it would take so much time. And at some point,
did you have like any outside ideas, like from friends or anything?
Yeah, some ideas, and I had some ideas like pressing buttons and stuff to open things, but it just didn't fit the atmosphere. Like Elemental is like Minecart is the only exception where something is visible that was made by human beings, and
Yeah.
I just put in minecarts because I thought it was awesome.
The minecart part was very tough.
I guess what you could have done is actually well, I'm this far into the game, so you have to give me a break on that.
Yeah, of course.
But if you don't have it, you could have kind of areas where you have to use your elements in order to interact with objects more than currently. Like I know there is like fire on the walls and things like that, but you could like use water in order to lubricate a hill, so you could make a boulder.
Like more the puzzle aspect of it.
Yeah. Like right now it's I wouldn't even call it a puzzle platformer. I'd call it a momentum-based platformer.
Yeah.
So you could go slightly more puzzly and do a few things along those lines.
Yeah, of course. There were some first had some ropes in the game as well, and as fire you could like attach to those ropes, and it was programmed as
there
well.
Were some what?
It wasn't included in the final game, just because like it stopped the flow, and I think one of the most important aspects in Elemental is just that flow that you can create with in the levels. And everything that stops that flow is probably not a good idea to include in Elemental. So
I could see that. The only reason I brought that up is because you asked.
No, of course, yeah, I guess.
Like, this is a very flow-based game, which is why I said I would not call it a puzzle platformer. A momentum-based, yes, but not a puzzle.
No, it's more a platformer than a puzzle game, but there are some puzzles in it, so...
Yeah, there definitely are some puzzle kind of stuff in it.
The puzzle part is really like it's nothing compared to the flow and the platform part. Elemental is mainly, if you're a puzzle fan, maybe Elemental is really not the game for you. If you're a platformer, perhaps. If you like speedrunning, really, if you like, more if you like a real challenge, or you really need to learn, you want to learn new stuff. Sometimes I think like the first time when I was snowboarding, I didn't like it very, very much. But like after one day, it starts to get fun. After 2 days, it gets more fun, and after when you mastered it, it's really fun. So it's really great.
Can I end / just have a little story about snowboarding here?
Sure.
Okay, I am a snowboarder, and I snowboarded for years. But my first day that I ever went snowboarding, I was like 12 years old. And I'm going backwards now.
You can just explode. You're going to be at the same part.
Yeah, press R.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. The first day we did a couple bunny hill runs, then we went up our first chairlift. And I just instantly at the top of the chairlift thought everyone knew what they were doing, so I just pointed my board down the hill and left. And it was one of the shortest runs at my ski hill. And I ended up waiting at the bottom of the ski hill for 2 hours before I gave up and went inside, and I was upset. It was horrible.
Wait, because you were waiting for everybody?
Well, yeah, because apparently 2 people couldn't even go down and had to be brought down on stretchers, and...
What?
I know, I was upset. I will admit, almost in tears. I was 12 years old, so, I just lost my entire group at, like, a strange place that I'd never been to before.
Were they like your parents or something?
Well, it was my parents and my entire ski group. They all lost me.
Oh, okay.
I was not pleased.
I went skiing once. It was pretty interesting. I'm from the south, in the area where, the South U.S., where we, like, don't ever get snow, so...
Yeah, of course. Which part? Like
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah, don't see a lot of snow there. I've been in America, like California, Utah, Colorado. I had like a 3-week trip there. Pretty interesting. I saw some snow and some mountains.
Was that in Colorado? Or
Perhaps, yeah.
All 3?
Probably, yeah.
I hear Colorado is a great place to go, though.
That was it's very open, a lot of nature. It's a cool place.
I'm from Yellowknife. Snow and I have a very intimate relationship.
Where is it? Somewhere?
That is Northwest Territories, far north in Canada.
Okay. Oh yeah. Whoa, that's.
Yeah.
It's like
very
snowing
cold
there right now.
Well, actually, likely right there right now, it's like 35 degrees Celsius.
Okay, that's awesome.
During the summer, it gets really hot.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to close.
Okay.
So this has been Midnight Podcast interviewing Dirk, even though I don't say his name right.
No, it's okay. Can say Dirk, like the Irish knife.
And Yessik Ziiiq has been here once again.
Hello. Sorry, I'm distracted playing this game.
And we were talking about Elemental or Element4l, and you can buy that on Steam and through the Humble widget. And is it anywhere else?
Just on elemental.com.
Okay. And I'll have that below in the status section, and I'll also post it for the people in the Twitch chat.
Support devs. Buy from the Humble widget.
Yep.
Yay! Cool.
And I'm a big fan of that.
And so, thank you again for listening or watching, and bye.
Bye, everyone.